Hi everyone, welcome to Reviews and Recaps. Let's get into the reunion. I'm doing a joint episode with part one and part two of the reunion, so you guys enjoy. Now, let's talk about the outfits. Well, Uncle Tommy looked good as always. I love the outfit. Joy looks lovely. Dakia looked nice. Now, I'm not a fan of Sabrina's dress. It just looks like a dress that I would get from Pretty Little Thing. It's a pretty dress, but I just don't think it's appropriate for a reunion, okay? I would have expected her to put a little bit of effort into that. The other thing was, what was Laverne wearing? It's like a suit with shorts, with socks. Like, honey, who styled you? Like, where did you get that suit from? Honey, you need a refund? Alrighty. Anyways, enough about the fashions. Did you see when they played back the sexual innuendos this season? It was like there were so many of them. And I agree with nephew Tommy. It was like Ready to Love After Dark. It's like you'd just be watching an episode, next thing someone is saying something random and sexual, and you're just like, where did that come from? Like, chill a little bit, guys. You're doing too much. So anyways, the conversation shifted gears a little bit to the truth or dare conversation that everyone is interested in. So nephew Tommy was speaking about the truth or dare conversation and asking Sabrina, what made you kiss Demetrius? Everyone thought you were going to kiss Tori. Sabrina basically was explaining that her relationship and connection with Demetrius was sort of like an undercurrent. So Demetrius is like a smooth, quiet brother. So it was like a silent pursuit. So no one really saw what was happening behind the scenes. Another thing that she did mention was that 15 minutes before this whole truth or dare conversation happened, Demetrius had pulled her to the side, had expressed interest in her, and had sort of expressed, it's you I want, it's you I'm interested in, and I want you to match my energy. And so she sort of felt like, that's where she was leaning towards. She also mentioned that she felt that what added to the embarrassment for Tori was that Joy kept saying, go on and run over there to Tori, and I agree with her. I feel like that sort of added to the embarrassment, if I'm being honest. I think if it was more of a quiet thing, I don't think it would have caused much of an issue, if I'm being honest. Yes, I know Tori would have still been upset, right? But I think it would not have escalated the way it did. I think he was publicly embarrassed and, of course, decided that, I can't take this, which is fair enough, So I definitely felt bad for him. Because everyone was shocked about it. What was interesting is that Joy and Sabrina did have like some sort of back and forth, and it was almost like it was almost like Joy was just being a bit of I don't understand. Her energy this reunion was completely off. I really did not like her energy this reunion. I think, to be honest, I know a lot of people sort of were loving and liking her and stuff, but I think from day one I sort of felt like something was a bit off about her, especially the way she went off on Demetrius. I was like, okay, I don't understand what's going on here. So I sort of got that vibe, but the reunion really showed her in an even worse light than I thought. One thing though was that even nephew Tommy or Uncle Tommy was basically saying that Sabrina should have tapped out of that game, and I agree with that. Like, she should have just said, "I'm gonna take a shot," and that would have saved her all this drama this season, to be honest. Of course, Uncle Tommy was asking Donovan and Carmen about their connections. Carmen seemed giddy about Donovan. Donovan seemed indifferent. I don't know, that was the impression I got. Let me know what you guys think. I think they're both sexually attracted to each other, but I don't think there's more to it. I think they're very surface level people, but at the same time, they're very, very crazy. They come across as spiteful, and I think that they should stay together and keep the rest of us safe from them. That's my opinion. So Uncle Tommy shifted gears a little bit to the connection that Dickie and Eric had. So of course they had to talk about the incident that no one really wanted to talk about. Anyway, so they asked Uncle Tommy asked Dakia, what happened. And Dakia was basically saying that, they were about to take a picture together. Eric came up behind her, put his hand on her waist to take a picture. Ultimately, Eric then moved his hand somewhere inappropriate. They didn't specify where it was, but whatever it was just horrible. You don't have the right to touch people inappropriately, especially because she apparently used her hands to push him right on the chest and told him, "You can't touch me like that, I'm a lady." And other people were there, including Paul. And Paul attested that that was exactly what happened. So it's just interesting how Eric was trying to gaslight her, because even if in his apology wasn't exactly very genuine. It's sort of like a, if I apologize sort of, BS. And then when Uncle Tommy was like, "Do you think you misread your connection with Dakia?" Eric was like, "No, not in the way we were talking. We kissed off camera." I'm like, just because you kiss somebody off camera does not mean they want you to touch them inappropriately in public. It's disrespectful. Don't be doing that. Dakia explained that, of course, he misread the situation, and he thought he had access to something that he didn't. I suspect that he either grabbed her in the boobs or the bum or the vajayjay. So whatever it is was inappropriate. If someone feels something is inappropriate, yes, it is inappropriate. Like, if you touch me and I feel it's wrong, then it is wrong. It is my body. I have access to it. I have creative license and control. So if I say something is wrong, then you should be apologizing for doing something to me. It's done without my consent. I was actually shocked to see like some people in the comment section just being like, "Well, she's so flirtatious, I'm sure it wasn't an issue." Like, no, bro. If someone gives you consent to kiss them, that's consent to kiss them. That's not consent to be groping them. Like, let's stop doing that. You're not in a relationship with this person. You're on a dating show. You are getting to know each other. Yes, you kiss, so bloody what? As you can tell, I'm really irritated about that. My biggest thing was the fact that I just felt like he was gaslighting her the whole time. And also, when he apologized, Dakia said she accepted it but wished that the apology came sooner. And he was like, how sooner could it be than the same day in which the incident happened? Apparently, Mr. Eric was calling other people on the cast. I'm guessing he was trying to get ahead of the story. But ultimately, that's what hurt Dakia. Dakia was like, it's the manipulation that came after that. And then you basically then texted Dakia saying there was nothing to talk about. Then later decide to write an apology. So of course she has the right to be hurt. Anyways, things moved ahead further and they started talking about Sabrina and her many connections. Then Carmen in the background was like, how many connections did she have? I'm like, girl, you are jealous about every and everyone. You want to be the one that is most sought after, but you ain't all that. Of course, Sabrina put Donovan under the bus about saying that he would have ended up with Joy in the process and not Carmen. Now, of course, he denied it. But then Dakia said that he mentioned that on the trip at the cabin. And Precious also said that he mentioned that. So Donovan essentially said, calm down, Golden Girls. I'm like, girl, that was funny as hell. Like, I was not expecting that. It was funny. It was totally uncalled for, but it was funny. So the conversation shifted to Sabrina and Demetrius's connection. And so Uncle Tommy was asking Sabrina, like, why didn't you meet Demetrius's mom? And, Sabrina was like, they were in a rocky space at the time, that apparently something was going on behind the scenes where information got passed on to Demetrius, and Demetrius told his mother. And then for him to then turn around and want her to meet his mother when he had already given his mom that kind of information about her was just not a conducive space. And I agree with Sabrina. I'm not being funny. If you told your mom that I kissed someone else, but you want me to then meet your mom, like, that's just inappropriate. I would just be like, that's weird. So it sounds like Donovan was running his mouth to Demetrius to let him know that Sabrina and him kissed multiple times, apparently. Off camera, okay? Now, what I don't understand is why did he feel the need to say it? And if he was looking out for his brother, right, he would have said it when it happened, not 2-3 weeks down the line. I personally think Donovan was being spiteful. He was thinking, if I cannot have Sabrina, nobody can. And I think that was the energy that he chose to bring. I think he's a sore loser just like Carmen is. They're like, I ain't never gonna go down as a loser. Instead, I'll do whatever it takes to come back and act like I'm on top. That's the impression that I get. And it's interesting because that's also Serena's perspective. She was like, she feels like it was done out of spite, and I completely agree. One thing I would say is Sabrina definitely handled all of the conflict at the reunion very well, surprisingly well. It's almost like she works well under pressure slash knows how to handle conflict slash thrives in conflict. I don't know, sis, but she did okay. She did really well. She talks about it being a good kiss, but it's not worth it. And I do not disagree. Any kiss that is giving you this much stress, bro, it ain't worth it. It's interesting though. I could tell that Carmen did not know about the kiss because she looked completely blindsided. Well, it could be editing, but the way it was shown, it looked like she had no idea whatsoever. So the conversation shifted to Ace and Laverne. Now, you know that Ace decided to leave the process because of Laverne. She felt like she had a strong connection with Laverne and wanted to explore that, which I respect because she didn't waste her time staying on the show when she knew like she was really into that one person. So I respect that completely. That is someone who is truly ready to love. Anyway, so Uncle Tommy asked what was the status of their connection, and Ace said, we wanted different things. And, what I'm not going to do is put the same effort into someone who is not cultivating me. I'm like, I know that's right. All right, sis. Do you know what? Ace is a class act, and I love how she did not bash him in any way. And what was interesting was when Uncle Tommy asked Laverne if he was responsible for the demise of things between Ace and Laverne, and he said yes, he takes all full accountability for it. And I'm like, I'm sure that's what it is, because Laverne comes across as I'm the ish. I don't gotta do nothing to cultivate this relationship. My presence is enough, and so I think that's what it was. I think he was probably doing the barest minimum, and Ace is like, I'm not standing for this, which I absolutely love about her. I love her energy. She just seems lovely. Anyway, so moving into part 2 of the reunion. Before I move into part 2 of the reunion, what are your thoughts about the reunion so far? Leave a comment in the comment section below. I think so far, my thoughts are that the reunion was even more interesting than the whole season. Can you believe that? It sounds like there's so many things that are happening in the background that is not being shown on our screens. And I feel like that's probably where the entertainment is. So I feel like they need to actually strap the camera to them all day, all night, every day. We need that content, please. So, when Levin was being eliminated, he mentioned something about Precious saying something about there being some sort of conspiracy to eliminate him. We were all thinking what the hell is going on here? Is this ready to love, or we need to make it to the end for clout? It was a mess. Apparently, Precious said that Sabrina told her that Carmen called her, saying that they needed to break the couples up so they can have a chance making their connections. And apparently, Carmen was trying to get Laverne voted out. It's interesting that Carmen denied it completely. I'm not surprised. Carmen just comes across as a liar, but I think she's guilty. The reason I say that is when the whole thing was being said, her facial expression, she looked guilty during that moment. So she knows more than she's letting on. Honestly, with the way Carmen has acted all season, I'm not surprised. And I feel like we all have reason to believe that Carmen, in fact, did call Sabrina, trying to get her to vote Laverne out. But the thing is, Sabrina was saying that Laverne has always been in her bottom because she doesn't have a relationship with him. And apparently, Karen also tried calling Tina, but Tina did not pick up. Tina was like, thank you. So I'm guessing that happened. To be honest, Carmen comes across as she just wants to win at everything. She's highly competitive. And the thing is, like, I am competitive, right? But when it comes to real life scenarios and, having to feel like I have to, I ain't about that life. That's just ridiculous. So you're on a show called Ready to Love, but you're playing high school games just because you want to end up at the end of the process. It just doesn't make any sense. So they talks briefly about Paul and Dakia's connection. Apparently Dakia has a new boyfriend. I'm happy for her. I hope he works out for her, to be honest. She seems like a sweet girl. So she's actually my favorite this season. So I really hope it works out for her. I'll definitely be looking out there for her, Miss Dakia. And of course, Uncle Tommy brought up the whole conversation about Paul saying he was not attracted to Dakia. Of course, Paul denied it yet again. At first, I thought Paul was being honest, but then, I don't know if it was editing, but today, it just seemed like he was swallowing his words, slurring his words about that. It just did not come across genuine in his response. So now I don't know who to believe. I know Carmen is messy, but I don't know. I don't know. Paul was sort of saying he did not recall, and just the way Paul was answering just seemed mad sketchy to me. Also, did you guys see the interaction between Tina and Paul? That was hilarious. Tina basically called Paul a liar. Like, she did not mince her words at all. Apparently, Paul is writing a book, and that's the only thing he's interested in. So the whole him being on the show is about publicity in readiness for his book. Who knows whether it's true? I guess time will tell. Time will tell. But apparently, Tina was basically saying that Paul wanted her to self-eliminate and go with him. I'm like, interesting. I don't think that's a lie. The reason I don't think that's a lie is because it seemed that they both sort of connected so well on the first date, and it seems like Paul found everything that he was looking for in her. So I would not be surprised if that legitimately actually happened and Paul was just trying to deny it now to save face. I think the funniest part for me was when apparently Tina was calling Demetrius Paul literally about 4 times during a date. That's insane. Like, Demetrius is funny. Demetrius just probably sat through it and said nothing and was just like, okay, this girl just called me Paul. But I ain't saying nothing. I'm gonna just sit here and see how long she's gonna call me Paul for. I don't think Demetrius was really interested in finding anyone either. I think the way he seemed just so laid back throughout the process. I don't think he was that hell-bent on pursuing anyone, if I'm being completely honest. So I do not trust his intentions on the show as well. Is it just me, or Precious was hella upset this episode or this reunion? Girl, what is going on? Precious was on like 10,000. She was not having any of it. Precious was basically upset that she felt like Demetrius turned her out and made her out to be this party girl who just wanted to club and, party all the time. Okay, Precious, here's the thing. I understand that can be upsetting if that's not the reality, right? Which probably isn't, right? But at the same time, sometimes when you put out something, people get a certain impression. It may be wrong, it may be right? But that does not mean that you should not be going on them on that level of anger because they got the wrong impression about you. You could simply be like, well, I'm not a party girl. I hardly be in the club like that, and that's that. And let that be that. I don't think it should be such an issue. The part that I didn't like was, one, Precious was on 10,000. Her energy was off. She was like going, really, really ham at Demetrius, which was out of line completely. But I also did not like that Demetrius asked her if she was drunk or high right now. And I'm like, girl, no, you should not do that. That's just antagonizing, and that's just going to make someone even angrier if they're already on a 10,000. Guys, she walked off and said FUB. She actually left the reunion. Like, she actually got her stuff and left, man. She left completely. She was like, I'm with the S. I think for me, the highlight of the reunion was the whole thing with Clifton, Dakia, and Joy. Now, it was very upsetting for me to watch. I don't know if it was for you as well, because I personally did not like the way Dakia was being treated. First of all, Dakia ain't no side B. She is not. They're on a show called Ready to Love, where they're meant to be dating multiple people to eventually find a connection with one. Now, I did not like the way it seemed that they were minimizing the connection between Clifton and Dakia. Now, the connection between Clifton and Dakia is not the same connection with Clifton and Joy. Absolutely, I agree. I accept that. But that does not mean that Dakia and Clifton did not have a connection. Are we watching the same show, everybody? Are we watching the same show? It was obvious that Clifton kept Dakia entertained. He kept reaching out to her. He kept pursuing her. He kept going on dates with her. So, apologies if Dakia felt that, okay, she had a connection with the guy. If the guy was showing her that he had a connection with her, I don't understand. What is so hard to accept with everyone? Like, why are a lot of people acting like, the connection came out of thin air? The part that got me, right, is the fact that they showed some never before seen videos of Clifton and Dakia spending time together, right? And Joy was laughing uncontrollably. Like, it wasn't even funny, and she was like, ah, ah, ah. I'm like, okay, yeah, this girl crazy. This is hella weird. Like, girl, you cray. What is going on? Are you alright, sis? And she was like, oh, they did such a good job of editing. I'm like, what? Are you saying that there was no connection between Clifton and Dakia? What are you saying? Yes, you guys have a connection, but there was a connection with them. And now, I did not like how Clifton was acting like a jerk this episode or this reunion. It was almost like, yes, it was very obvious the sort of connection Joy and I had. So I didn't think there was any need for me to give you a courtesy of letting you know. It was all in your face anyway. Like, what on earth? If I'm dating multiple people in the process and you finally decide, okay, this is who I like from day one, this is who I want to continue to pursue, I do no longer want to pursue you, you should dignify me with a conversation. You should not just be like, okay, I'm going to just leave you to do whatever, and, I'm going to just ghost you like that. No, have a conversation. That would have fixed the issue quickly. I do not stand by that. Joy was very, very rude to Dakia. She minimized and trivialized her whole connection with Clifton. Yes, her connection with Clifton might not have been as strong as yours connection, but don't make it seem like the girl was crazy and in La La Land, when in reality, scenes show your man being all upon the girl. Like, I don't understand what and why she's blaming editing. Editing cannot make it seem like your man had a connection with someone else. I feel like Joy gave the fire that she was meant to have for Clifton. You should have been upset at your man for trivializing the connection he had with this girl, not at the girl for the connection. It just doesn't make any sense. I was really upset, taken aback, and it really broke my heart when Dakia actually shed a tear. I felt so bad for her because I feel like this whole reunion, I don't feel like she was being protected in any way. I hated the way Eric was being allowed to be able to speak to her. I hated that she wasn't being, like, no one was standing up for her. Paul did not even stand up for her despite being present. Yes, he validated something that she said after she asked whether it was correct, and he said yes. However, he could have defended her better. I feel like anyone could have stepped in and said, no, Joy, the way you are speaking to the Kia is not right. What the hell? I feel like Joy comes across as a mean, insecure little brat. Said what I said. I feel like she comes across as an insecure little brat. All of a sudden, you see that your man had a connection with someone else, and you throw all your toys out of the pram, acting like a little kid. I was definitely disappointed. And when the Kia shed a tear, I just wanted to give her a hug and bless Sabrina for like just trying to comfort her in that moment. It's just crazy. It's like they were trying to make her out to be this crazy bee who thought she had a connection with Clifton when she didn't. Like, how dare you gaslight someone like that? The audacity. It's not fair at all. Clifton had the audacity to say that, they were just flirting and having sexual innuendos, that they didn't really have deep conversations like that, which I know it's not true. If that was the case, you wouldn't have felt at the cabin that you needed to have a conversation with her, and you would have just thought, we didn't really have a connection, we never spoke about anything, why I gotta tell her nothing? But you had the conversation with her, but all of a sudden at the reunion, you're acting brand new. That really irritated me. And whilst we're at this point, I just remembered that Joy was hugging up on Eric after Eric gaslighted the Kia. It just reminds me of those women who are so quick to be on the side of a man, but will never support their other women when they're going through stuff. I think that's the vibe that I get, is like one of those women that always like, oh, pick me when it comes to men. Like, oh, a man said this, so it must be true. But a woman says something different. Is like, what is she talking about? Like, nah, man, you're male identified and it's showing, honey. I hope that she takes a good look at herself and really realizes, I do not like what I'm seeing and I need to change that. Anyways, there was like Wiley. Everyone likes Wiley, but no one wants to date Wiley because Wiley is a youngin. And I think that was pretty much how his whole experience in the show was. The truth is, Tiffany has liked Wiley from the start. And apparently they've been dating and talking and all of that stuff. And Tiffany said that, she trusts Wiley with her eggs. I'm like, okay. So how did that come about? Uncle Tommy was like, have you put all of your eggs in Wiley's basket? She's like, no, but I trust Wiley with all my eggs. I'm like, okay, Tiffany. Tiffany is definitely vocal about liking Wiley. I think Wiley likes the Kia. It's interesting. Even at the reunion, there was a moment where he put his hands on her thigh and was trying to give her some support in that moment. Wiley is very emotionally sensitive. I do hope that he finds the right one for him. But yeah, he seems like such a really good guy. I don't know why the ladies were opposed to dating him. It's very sad, actually. But I wish Wiley the best. I think we all do. I like Wiley. Who else likes Wiley? Let me know in the comment section below. So back to the final couple that everyone sort of seems to love. Clifton and Joy. I think it's because they don't have any other connections or any other, potential love story. So people want to hold on to this one. Here's the thing. Clifton basically was talking about how they've talked every single day for hours on end, and that, as soon as Joy left for Mexico, he's gone over to see her every other weekend since the day she left. I'm like, okay, all right, cool. And then every other weekend since she left, Clifton basically then went down on one knee, right? Opened the box, and guess what was in the box? Keys. I thought homeboy was about to propose. Homeboy did not propose. He passed her some keys, honey. He gave her some keys and she was so happy. Like, I'm like, bro, he knelt down in front of everybody to give you some freaking keys. Shouldn't you have keys already anyway? Like, what in the world? Oh, right. If barest minimum was a person, I was just like, you acted like you were proposing to give some damn keys. And I have so many questions, right? So Joy was talking about how they plan to have a baby in March. And I'm like, you're planning to have a baby with a man that could not even propose. He gave you keys to his house. So you're not good enough to marry, but you're good enough to have a baby with and to live in his house. Okay, honey. If that rocks your boat, that is for you. That is a matter for you. I hope you are happy. But yeah, nah. It's a no for me, dog. It's a no for me. But yeah, I wish them the best. I don't think they're going to last, to be completely honest with you. I think they're both mean-spirited, especially Joy. I'm starting to notice that, like, she's a pick-me, she's annoying, she's a spoiled little brat. Wow, I seem really strongly about her. I do, I didn't really care for her from day one because of certain things. I saw like glitches in her personality that just did not, in the vibrant personality she was trying to portray. But to now look back, to now see the way that she acted at the reunion, she acted like an immature brat. And I'm not impressed at all. I'm actually, not impressed at all. But overall, all in all, it's a wrap. Ready to love. All in all, I think it was a good season. I think it was an even better reunion. So I'm looking forward to the next Ready to Love, which I will be covering. Your girl loves some Ready to Love. Hopefully we can have some more live videos then and have more of in-depth chats where you guys can get involved as well. And also please subscribe if you haven't already. Please make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Please try and share it as well because your girl is still growing. Your girl is very, very new to this channel. So please help me grow. Actually, help us grow. That's pretty much it. But yeah, thank you so much, my lovelies. Take care. Bye.